fire, wind, and dust warning today in large parts of Kansas, northeast Colorado, and southwest Nebraska, all in the tri-state area. Counties include, but are not limited to, Sherman, Thomas, Sheridan, Wallace, Yuma, Cheyenne, Rawlins, Decatur County, among others, with red flag warnings. There's potential for very dangerous fire weather, with wind gusts predicted to reach as high as 65 miles an hour, and combined with that low humidity around 10%, makes for trouble. Also, there is an extremely critical fire weather condition warning, the first since 2022, in effect for the counties in the most northwest part of Kansas, southwestern area of Nebraska, and some parts of northeast Colorado. The strongest winds are said to hit in the late morning today into the early parts of the afternoon, with a potential lull to follow. For these and other stories, go to nwksradio.net.
Today, red flag and particularly dangerous situation. Red flag warnings are in effect for the entire area. Very dry fuels and winds gusting over 60 miles per hour would create conditions favorable for life-threatening explosive fire growth. High wind warning is also in effect for counties along I-70 from Goodland to Quinter and south, and damaging southwest winds gusting over 45 to 65 miles per hour mid-morning through mid-afternoon will lead to areas of blowing dust, reducing air quality and visibility due to dust plumes hindering travel. Skies will be partly cloudy with highs 70 to 80. Tonight, colder air moves in with lows dropping below freezing. And tomorrow will be colder but still mild with highs in the low 60s. Partly cloudy skies and southwest winds continuing to gust 25 to 45 miles per hour. Elevated fire concerns will once again be in place. This meteorologist Chris Schromick of the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
With NextTech Wireless, get truly unlimited data as low as $40 a month. And get the latest devices like the iPhone 17 on us. iPhone 17 has a 6.3-inch ProMotion display, Ceramic Shield 2, all 48-megapixel rear cameras, center stage front camera, A19 chip, and more. NextTech Wireless, celebrating 20 years of connecting Kansans.
From drive-through banking to mobile deposit, we make it easy to get things done on your schedule. Banking should fit your life, not the other way around. This is Jessica Von Lintel at F&B Bank. Banking made simple.
In a small town, your banker should know more than just your account number. They should know your name. At F&B Bank, we believe in real conversations, friendly faces, and decisions made right here at home. I'm Paige Sneathen, Vice President at F&B Bank, and we're proud to serve your family like our own. Member FDIC.
Looking for serious truck savings? Head to Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland and check out these Chevrolet deals happening now. Drive home a 26 Chevy Silverado 1500 Custom with up to $6,000 in rebates, now just $45,335. Need more features? Step into a 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT with up to $5,750 in rebates, now $52,040. Power, capability, and value, all backed by the Chevrolet name. See the lineup today at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, online at hurlchev.com.
When you gotta go, but there's nowhere to go, who you gonna call? Topside Portables and Pumping, that's who. Weddings, job sites, farm parties, they've got clean, reliable porta potties that don't stink, literally. And if your septic tank smells worse than last year's chili cook-off, they'll pump it out fast. No mess, no fuss. Family owned, Heartland values, always ready. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. When duty calls, they answer.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pestaway in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pestaway today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
Goodland Automotive's annual filter sale is back, happening February 16th through the 21st. Save on filters, motor oil, lubricants, tools, and more, featuring quality CarQuest parts you trust to keep your vehicles and equipment running strong. And be sure to stop in Wednesday the 18th for a free customer appreciation lunch. A thank you from the team at Goodland Automotive, your local CarQuest dealer. Don't wait to place your filter orders. Order now and save some cash. It's the Goodland Automotive Annual Filter Sale, February 16th through the 21st at your local CarQuest dealer, Goodland Automotive.
Hello, I'm Dr. Robert Rodriguez with Western Kansas Oncology Group. February is National Cancer Awareness Month, and I want you to know that you're not alone. I'm now offering oncology services every Tuesday at Goodland Regional Medical Center, bringing specialized cancer care closer to home. If you or a loved one has recently discovered you have cancer, my team and I are here to help guide you through the diagnosis. To learn more or schedule an appointment, please call Western Kansas Oncology Group at 620-720-2744. Together, we'll take the next step forward.
This is Bella Wright, senior cheerleader at Goodland Junior Senior High School. Winter sports and activities are underway with a full slate of action planned to take place in the coming weeks. Basketball, wrestling will host home games coming up, while esports, Scholars Bowl, and KMEA Music will be competing across the state. Stay up to date by clicking on the Cowboy information link on our website. The Black and Gold Booster Club, proudly supporting all students in their academics, activities, and athletics.
This is your moment. Seize the moment at Dan Brenner Ford in Goodland. Find adventure and excitement in a Ford Bronco built for the wild, a Ranger ready for work and play, the unstoppable F-150 Raptor, and heart-pounding Mustangs that turn every road into a thrill. Whatever drives you, drive it home today from Dan Brenner Ford, where the moment is now. Dan Brenner Ford, Goodland. Seize the moment.
Dan Brenner Ford, the right car, right truck, right now.
You ready?
Ready?
1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
And Connor Schuh.
He's the new guy.
High Plains only local sports talk show. Broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
They're basically idiots.
Covering it all from the preps.
Up ahead to Blair Lennon. Lennon, the crossover back to Cure. Hello, boom! A two-handed tomahawk flush.
To the pros.
Shotgun snap to Nix. Protection is good. Bold loads it up. He's got it. A receiver there. Franklin makes the catch in the end zone. Touchdown, Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with
Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, the Insurance Agency, Pestaway LLC, Topside Portables and Puffing, and the Farmer State Bank in Oakley.
Let's go to work.
2-2 pitch. This one is turned on to left field again. And this one's out of here. A line shot for Will Jeske.
Here's a steal by Stalking. Puts it on the floor to get into the front court. Pushes the pass left side. 3 ball in the air. Count it. Chit-chat right in transition. 1-0 pitch, a high fly ball to right field. If it stays fair, it's gone. It is there! A walk-off homer for Bryce Hubbard. First homer of the year for the Beavs.
Uzan, top of the key, Miller. Miller on the attack to the basket with a right-hand hammer. Mercy Miller with authority.
Taman finds Jefferson. Over to the corner, a 3 by Heisey. Yes! Are you kidding me?
Good Tuesday morning. It is the Morning Blitz. Glad you decided to join us here on this February the 17th. Ross Volkmer, Connor Schuh. Glad to be with you here for another hour here on Goodland's Rockets, KLOE, as well as NWKSradio.net and the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Actually, I don't even know if we're on X today. I saw that they're having some issues. Is StreamYard with getting that to X? So we'll look into that here in a little bit. But we're on Facebook and we're on YouTube. So you can find us if you desperately want to see our glorious faces today as we get rolling here on a Tuesday morning. Boy, some great calls this morning, man. What a start to the baseball season. Been some great series, some great wins. K-State starts the year 4-0 in college baseball. They had a semi come from behind win over Air Force yesterday. Your favorite team, Michigan,
yes,
almost swept the Beavs.
Love them.
Oregon State yesterday had a walk-off winner there for Oregon State.
And boy, that game last night between Iowa State and Houston, Hilton Magic strikes again. Houston had it for most of the game, and then here comes Iowa State late and steals it there in the end to get it done. Did you happen to watch any of that game last night?
I did not get a chance to. I found myself on the court again.
Again? So the back must have healed up, and you were feeling all right enough to play some hoops last night.
No.
No.
That was I doubled down. The knees, the back, all of it is not feeling good. I'll tell you that much.
Well, that's all right. You'll be okay. You'll have to take a night off at least from playing basketball to cover basketball. So
well, we'll see how the wind decides that.
I guess that is true. That is a great point to keep in mind, folks. Today, if you haven't heard, and if you haven't, well, you're under a rock. But today, very, very windy and very, very warm. 70 degrees the high today here on the high plains, but the big story is the wind. Southwest winds anywhere from 15 to 25 to start, increasing between 25 and 40 this afternoon, and gusts getting up to around 65 miles per hour here this evening, or through the rest of the day. So there could be some things altered, possibly due to that. I would invite you to go to our website. That's nwksradio.net. Our good friend Addison Stoddard is keeping that up to date today with area cancellations and closings. So if you're curious on if something is open or something is not today, you want to go see what Addison has put on there. But yeah, we'll see. There is a good chance of some blindness. Here's the thing, though, about, the last time we kind of had one of these ordeals, and things got postponed due to wind, as it did, back in January?
I think it was in January there was one.
Yeah, it's like the second weekend in January that it happened. The reason why I think this might be a little different, is that very concerned about blowing dust. Not too long ago, as in this previous weekend, there was a nice little rain over over a decent part of the listening area. And that's going to keep the dirt a little bit better. I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect because it's still very dry out, but I think that may help.
Yeah, I watched the National Weather Service thing they put out in Goodland, and they said, unfortunately, that probably isn't
not going to be enough. Not going to play a part.
Too sunny over the last couple of days, so it all just evaporated.
Took her away. So
yep,
we'll see. But yeah, once again, a very windy day on tap today, but highs around 70, but the winds anywhere for start between 15 and 25, up to 25 to 40, and then gusting around 65 today. So keep that in mind if you plan on traveling anywhere. We are in a high wind warning until let's see, that is going to be 5 o'clock tonight, and then a red flag warning until 8 o'clock tonight as well. So once again, Connor, remind you, don't be flicking your cigarette butts out the car window as you're driving anywhere today.
Good to know, 'cause you know me.
Yeah, a picture of health over there, but he likes a good Marlboro every now and then. How do you think he got those great vocal cords? Smoked them.
Yeah, I've been smoking cigarettes since I was 5 years old.
He's a real man. Anyway, today's program, plenty to get to. We'll talk some high school basketball. There is a full slate. We're actually getting down. This is yesterday. Actually, there were a couple of games that played. Rollins County and Quinter were both in action, and both Rollins County and Quinter sweeping their opponents. I think Rollins County beat Northern Valley, and Quinter beat Trigo in both games. But this is the last week of the regular season. And so you've got for sure games tonight, hopefully, and then games on Friday. And there are a few teams that do have some games on Thursday, whether it's some makeups or some final kind of get-in games before the postseason begins next week. And so we'll dive into some high school basketball later on. K-State and Nebraska both hit the floor tonight. It's the first game of the Matthew Driscoll interim era for K-State men's basketball. And because of that, I was able to pry Ryan Gilbert away from GoPowerCat.com to stop by and visit with us today for our guest. And so we'll talk about the entire Jerome Tang situation from Tang's perspective, from Kansas State's perspective. Boy, there's more juicy news. This is going to be a great juicy story when it's all said and done. I'm telling you right now. Have you read the stuff about what Tang's doing to get prepared for this?
Like the lawsuit, or?
Yeah, he's going out and hiring a couple of really big time lawyers to make sure that he's got $18 million.
He is lawyering up, so we'll see if that works out for him.
So he's ready to go. So look forward to visiting with Ryan Gilbert coming up in segment 2. But here for about the next 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to finally get into, and I do say finally because it's been a while, I've been saying this for a while. We're going to talk a little bit about a story I saw last week.
about from On3 Sports was writing about this. An On3 reporter was visiting with a few college basketball general managers / coaches. Joe Tipton was the man who wrote this for On3 Sports, and the title of the article is "College Programs Grappling with Spending on 5-Star Recruits or Transfer Portal Vets," and that kind of went to the question that was put in the story by the general manager in this. Was like, well, what do you do if you're a coach or a general manager of a basketball program? We're going to say here, if you're spending $8 million on your team and you spend $3 million on a 5-star and then you spend the rest of your money on everybody else, is that worth it? Or is it better to kind of do, or $1 million where you buy 3 guys that might have some seasoning to them, if you want to go, some veteran guys that are in the portal. Once again, we've seen this a lot at Kansas. This is where it kind of stems from. Darren Peterson reportedly making around $3 million. That's no facts, just a report. Makes around $3 million, the 5-star, but hasn't played really an entire game except for maybe once in recent memory. And then you've got Melvin Council, who was at St. Bonaventure, who comes in. He's worth just $1 million, let's say.
Probably less.
3 of those guys and bring them in, and they play better than you have the $3 million. Where do you stand on this thought and topic as we dive into this here this morning?
Easily with the $1 million, because Darren Peterson is awesome, but regardless of availability, anything, even with his straight up talent, I think having to shell out that type of money for a guy like that, it leaves you without the depth you might need. And Kansas is a team with pretty much no depth beyond their starting lineup. They have some guys who can knock down shots every once in a while on their bench, but I don't think there's any of those guys that you can trust to go and get a huge defensive stop consistently or go get a bucket consistently if Darren's having a cold night or he's out, or if Melvin's having a cold night and he can't hit a shot. I think you see some of the better teams at the very, very top with a little more depth. Like, I feel like Duke may have Boozer, but they have more depth behind him, and maybe they didn't have to pay quite as much for him. And even like in Arizona, they have tons of depth. And you see those teams at the very, very top, even like a Nebraska. I guess they don't go super deep.
No, that would not be a team that has a lot of depth.
But in a different way, they've distributed their NIL to get a bunch of really solid, good players who can just come together and play 1 through 5. So I guess there's 2 sides to that, but I always think building out your roster a little more, or just getting a nice core group of guys, or even like BYU with their big 3. Obviously, AJ probably is making a ridiculous amount of money, but they were able to get Richie Saunders
making $8 million, but that might
there's no way.
That might be like over the course of a 3 or 4 year deal.
Yeah, that's $8 million would be insane. But at any rate, I think saving money for depth is a better route for most teams.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Me being the old school curmudgeon here, I would always say that I'm going to go 3 $1 million players over 1 $3 million player. But here's the thing: if you're Kansas or if you're any program, you need both.
Yeah, I don't blame him for taking it.
If you're Kansas, if you think about it, if you're going to make a Final Four run this year, and maybe even have a chance to win a national championship. I know that's a little bit of a stretch, but if you're going to even get to that point, you're going to have Darren Peterson play like a $3 million player, like we saw in the Texas Tech game. That Texas Tech game was just as of right now, a flash in the pan that we saw when he goes out there and knocks down 2 massive shots down the stretch on the road in Lubbock, and puts his team in the position to win that game. They needed everybody to win that game on the road in Lubbock. And as we have proven, that is a great win, because Texas Tech went on the road and beat Arizona in Tucson this past weekend, which was a huge upset win for them. So that's a great win for Kansas. They've proven that they need that stuff. But you're going to need all hands on deck if you are Kansas, if you're going to make a run, I think, at a Final Four this year.
Yeah.
You need everybody. And that includes Darren Peterson, who I'm going to say this. I think he is probably worth $3 million. Now,
Do I think he is owed $3 million? No. Is he worth $3 million? Yes. With what he can bring to the floor, but he hasn't earned any of that $3 million for how lack of minutes he's played due to whether it be load management or injuries or sickness, whatever it's been. He hasn't earned that $3 million, but he's probably worth it if he could play to his full potential for multiple games on end, which my guess is that's the only thing that Kansas is worried about. They know they're going to be in the tournament. Seeding matters somewhat as long, if you could be a top 4, top 3 seed, you're in a really good spot, at least to get put somewhere remotely close to where you are. St. Louis, Oklahoma City. Those are a few of the places that are the close towns for where the first round, I think, is held. And so you want those type of deals. So it's fascinating to me because, yes, I would take the $1 million, three $1 million players. And I think a majority of college basketball rosters have to do this. They have to go out and find, and even $1 million is way too much. I mean, $1 million might be the highest paid player on their roster for sure.
Yeah.
But you got to go out and that's the thing about today's deal. You're exactly right. You've got to go out and you have to find the players that are worth that amount of money and get it. You don't mind spending the money if you're getting return on investment. If you're not getting the return on investment, that's where it really stinks. You're like, man, we could have spent more money on maybe another guy that's at this school and we had him on the hook, but we didn't give him the extra $500K. And so now he's over there making a whole bunch of money and lighting things up.
Yeah, and then as to tie it back to Darren, he could still get healthy and really help your team down the stretch, improve the seed, and I could see him going off in March Madness. It's very, very possible with how talented he is and how he's played 80% of the time he's been on the court. I mean, he laid an egg against Iowa State, but other than that, whenever he's played, he has been incredible. So I think as long as he gets on the court, I'm not too worried about him, I guess, quote unquote.
Well, he'll get on the court. Will he stay on the court?
Yeah, and I think he will. It just seems like a combination of his family and Bill Self are very, very careful with him. They don't want to risk any type of injury with him, which honestly, I've been thinking about it, and I think it's somewhat fair with a guy that is that good. You want to try and preserve him so he's at his best towards the playoffs. Obviously, I don't think they're load managing him. I mean, I think he's actually hurt and he's actually been sick. He's just had a freak string of injuries and illnesses that have kind of kept him out of the way. And it has been handled a little bit weird, but I still believe.
We will see. It is certainly going to be an interesting finish this year. And, as Jared on the FB Bank text line said, Officer Jared says he'll feel better. He'll feel better probably when the games matter the most. And that's the NCAA tournament is probably when he will feel better. I don't know, but there's a lot of teams out there, that like I look at, for example, Nebraska, who I know does not have a big NIL basketball budget. My guess is that budget is probably $3 to $4 million for the entire roster. Gonna guess.
Sure.
But when you spend it in the right areas, you're going to get it. And here's the thing. I think the thing now is you have to spend money in order to get players. Your biggest thing now in today's college athletic landscape is about not only developing talent, but being able to decipher what is good and what is not, what will work and what won't work. You have to be an unbelievable talent evaluator. I was visiting with one of the Goodland assistant coaches, and they were talking about Kansas football. He's a big KU football fan. And he goes, we'll never see Kansas football ever competing at a high level. I said, I don't think that's true. I think any team can compete at a high level if their coach is an elite talent evaluator. Because and if you can put the right pieces in place and make that perfect Tetris puzzle all fit together, things go together and you can win. That's what happened to Indiana football here the last couple of years. That's what's happened with Nebraska basketball this year to this point in time. You're seeing that kind of stuff. But there are those teams on the other side that go out there and spend 30 or what it was reported. Kentucky basketball was that?
I'm looking at it right now. It's 22.
$22 million. they spent on a roster for Kentucky basketball. Guess what? It ain't worth $22 million out there.
They're unranked.
I mean, it's bad.
It's funny.
It's bad. I don't think it'll ever go this way. But I honestly think players should not get paid until after the season. If you perform and play really well, we will pay you accordingly. If you don't, well, then you know the consequences of it. It'll never happen, but it'd be great to see.
With that logic, that NBA players should get paid after the season and NFL players should get paid after the season. I don't know about that.
Or how about this? Every player starts at a base of $100,000. Based upon what you do this year, you get a bonus. Once again, it's incentivized deals. Talked about it for coaches. Why not for players? You can make as much money as you want, but you're going to have to perform to get that money. I like it that way a lot better. Then you don't end up seeing these guys making whatever $3, $4, $5 million and didn't do anything to earn it.
Incentives would be interesting.
I think incentives would be great. Before we get to a break, Connor's been on this big trek to talk about players that are trying to get back into college basketball. What was the guy from Alabama?
It was Charles Bediako, and he is no longer.
Yeah, they changed the judge. They threw out the deal, and now he can't play. He did play for a couple games, and
I
now
think he played like 5. And it's funny, I think they lost most of those games, so
Alabama,
that worked out pretty well.
Way down this year, way down is the SEC after a great year last year in college basketball. But there's a handful of other teams and players out there. What are some guys that you've also tracked down? I know there's one that you're really particularly interested in.
Well, it's dialed down a lot. I haven't heard much in the past couple of weeks aside from Amari Bailey. He played at UCLA back in, I think it was like 2021, and he was pretty good, but he was a one and done. He left after his freshman year to the draft, and he got drafted in the second round by the Hornets, and he played 8 games, I think, in the NBA, and then just couldn't make his way back into the league. Played in the G League a little bit, played overseas, and now at the age of, I think, 22, he's trying to return to college. He's like, I'm still the age of a college senior. Why can't I come back? Well, you played NBA games. Like, you had your chance to stay in college, and apparently GCU, Grand Canyon, is trying to court him and make it work, but I don't think the NCAA is going to let it happen after kicking Bediako out. There's no way he gets in.
Well, the problem is you set a precedent, and then all of a sudden everyone thinks that they can get in there, and that's the hard part. You've got to have some judges out there that say, no, for the betterment of the sport, we can't have this.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they set a precedent with kicking Bediako back out.
No, hopefully, and I hope that's the case. I hope it's the case because you had your chance to play in the if you played college ball and then you go and play professional ball, whether it's in the G League, overseas, or whatever, and then you try to come back, I just think there should be like a barrier. Like, no, you can't do that.
You shouldn't be allowed to if you left college willingly and went to play pro ball. Like, I understand the Euro guys coming back over that didn't have a chance to play college ball in Europe and want a chance to do that at the age of like 20, 19 or something. Like, that makes sense to me. But the guys who actually played college ball before and tried to go the pro route after and are trying to make their way back, like, we've lost the plot. Like, that stuff's ridiculous. Like, there's a kid for Ohio State, Puff Johnson, who came back, but his situation's a little different. He actually never tried to go pro, but I think this is technically year 5 for him. And in my opinion, he probably shouldn't be playing because he was just granted extra eligibility out of thin air, pretty much. But it's a situation like that I'll be less mad at than a Bediako or an Amari Bailey trying to go back.
I think there's 2 reasons why you see guys try to come back. Number one, of course, obviously, is money. They're not making a whole lot of money doing what they're doing in the professional ranks. And I think the other big thing is they're playing in front of empty arenas. There's just not a lot of thrill playing in front of empty arenas. There's just not.
If you're playing in high-level Euro League, that's one thing. Those places are crazy. But anywhere else, it can get pretty dead, especially if you're playing in like the G League. Let's
face it, there's not a lot of teams. I don't think there's a lot of guys looking to come back that are playing a high-level Euro.
No, absolutely not. It's guys who are in the G League.
Quebec are playing, in Germany or in Istanbul, or
they're playing like Malaysia or something.
Yeah, they're playing or they're playing in the G League, and they're playing in front of nothing.
Yeah,
and they're making very minimal money, and they're like, "Well, shoot, I can go back to college, play in front of packed crowds and rowdy fans, and I can make over $1 million."
That's maybe just maybe rebuild your stock.
Maybe,
which is unlikely, but
possibly. I just don't know. I think that'd be a lot. But once again, you get your chance. I honest to God wish it would go back to the olden days. Like if you wanted to play in college basketball, you had to be here for, you had to, I wish it was more like baseball. If you come to college, that's fine, but you're here for 3 years. You're locked in for 3 years.
Still like that too. I mean, I'm surprised.
I just wish basketball was like that, but if you want to go to the NBA or if you want to go play professional someplace else and out of high school, by all means, go ahead. Skip college and go do that. Try and make it work. But if not, you come to college, you're there for 3 years. That's what I would love to see. But once again, that rule is out the window like a lot of other decent rules that used to exist in college sports. So anyway, all right, 7:33 Mountain, 8:33 Central Time here on a Tuesday, February the 17th. Once again, folks, in a high wind warning and red flag warning here on the high plains until this afternoon and evening. Wind gusts up to 65 miles per hour day and a very warm day of 70 degrees. We'll take a break. Come back. Ryan Gilbert of GoPowerCat.com has joined us. He'll join us next and talk a little on the whole Jerome Tang situation, K-State against Baylor tonight, which also is an interesting story because that's where Jerome Tang came from. So we'll get to all that coming up here next on the Morning Blitz on this Tuesday.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Hi, this is Hayden Roberty with the Andersons with the open market report. March corn is opening up at $4.28 3/4, down 3 cents. May corn is at $4.38 1/4, down 3 3/4. Soybeans for March are at $11.30, down 3 cents. May soybeans are at $11.45 1/4, down 3 1/4. Kansas City wheat is for March is at $5.37 3/4, down 4 3/4. May Kansas City wheat is at $4.49, down 4 3/4. The S&P 500 down 23 points. Dow futures are down 82 points. NASDAQ futures are down 186 points. Gold is down 154 points. If you have any cash ready to move or interested in our free and pricing tools, give us a call at 913-748-3000. If you have any needs in Colorado, call Jan Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Hey Max, you look sharp in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world as a guide dog?
You bet, Daisy. And your purple service dog vest really pops against your shiny fur.
First day on the job for both of us. We've got this, right?
You bet. Dogs Inc. trained us well.
Ready to make a difference for our humans?
Born ready.
Discover how extraordinary guide and service dogs change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
If you're buying or selling cattle, make your first stop
livestockmarket.com. Bred cows, heifers, hares, bulls, and frozen genetics, even feeder calves. You'll find them all at livestockmarket.com. Livestock Market features private treaty sales, online auctions, and live production sale bidding. You'll also find horses, sheep, goats, and hay. Check out the free Livestock Market magazine wherever you pick up Tractor House and download the Livestock Market mobile app today.
When it comes to cattle performance this winter, protein isn't optional. It's essential. The right protein helps cattle pull more energy from every bite of feed and keeps rumen microbes doing their job. Want better fiber digestion and feed efficiency? Feed Smart Lick protein tubs. After all, performance starts with protein. It's not about working harder. It's about feeding smarter. Go to smartlick.com. That's smartlic.com to find your dealer.
From the headlines to the highlights.
It's good! The Wildcats are champions of the Big 12!
This is the Morning Blitz.
All right, back here on a Tuesday morning. Continue to roll along. We will get to some high school basketball thoughts and another college basketball game on tap for tonight in our region. But one of the big ones, of course, tonight, it is K-State basketball back at home at Bramlage Coliseum. They host the Baylor Bears with a lot of interesting storylines. Of course, no Jerome Tang. He has been relieved of his duties. And Matthew Driscoll will take over as interim head coach. Of course, Jerome Tang came to K-State from Baylor as an assistant there. So lots of storylines to get into. And we're pleased to welcome in our good friend from GoPowerCat.com. Ryan Gilbert joins us now on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. What's up, Ryan, my man? How we doing today, buddy?
Morning, fellas. I kind of forgot there was a game tonight. There's just been so much going on.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, obviously I did my preview and stuff, but it's been a wild, 36 hours, I guess, since news broke.
I got to ask, what was your fate? Could you give us your facial expression when you heard Jerome Tang say the words of "these guys don't deserve to wear the uniform. None of this, most of these guys will not be back next year." When you heard that sitting there for the first time, could you reenact what your facial expression said?
Yeah. I mean, the thing was, he said media has 2 questions and that was it. I was like, well, I was like sitting in the second row. So I was like, well, I don't get a question after this game, but yeah, you could tell pretty early on that this was going to be a different type of press conference because, just 10 days prior to that, you had Jerome Tang saying he was so proud of his guys, not disappointed, et cetera, et cetera.
I just, were you floored that those were the things that were said? Was particularly out loud?
You know what? No, I think Jerome Tang always had that in him, Ross. I just was confused, and I think everybody doesn't understand why it took him so long, having one Big 12 win in mid-February, to finally pull out that card. I mean, this is something you should have done after you lose to Bowling Green, say a team like that, way earlier on in the year.
Ryan, were you surprised they pulled the plug on Tang this early in the year instead of waiting till the end of the season?
Boy, how much time do we have on here?
You got 15 minutes.
The whole cause thing, guys, I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand some of that stuff, but there's not a lot there. Okay, everybody's kind of in agreement with that. Now you can think whatever you want about Jerome Tang. His comments in and of itself, right, that's not necessarily a ton to fire somebody. Now, if I'm Kansas State and I want Jerome Tang out, why would you not keep him in there? I say this half jokingly, but I'm being serious. Like, Jerome Tang's program kept going down. There was no net to catch this thing. And he was continuing to just say, objectively dumb stuff in his press conferences. He was having his guys practice at 6 a.m. Okay, I don't know the ins and outs of this. There's rules on when you can and can't practice after a game. Guys were running stairs before a game. Coaches were not coaching. You had literally, players running the scout. Like, it was going to get worse, in my opinion. If you wanted to wait for some cause to come, I think it might have actually really came in the coming weeks. And so for Kansas State to pull the plug when it did doesn't make a lot of sense. Gene Taylor's press conference didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I get it. He can't say a whole lot. If this goes to court, you don't want to say too much, but it's been a weird, I guess, approach, a weird strategy from K-State athletics.
Do you think there's something in there in the contract that says And maybe you've read the contract, but is there something in the contract that says, if you say or do something to deface the university or something like that, or cause the university harm or portray the university in a bad light, that is a cause for a fireable offense? I mean, is there something? Because that's the only thing that I could see them getting possibly, is because, well, Jerome Tang said some things that got picked up by the national media, and they have thrown K-State under the bus. I mean, they're still doing that. They're talking about it last night during the Iowa State halftime game about how they're, the K-State's mistreating Jerome Tang and going after, they're trying to find for cause. Is that the only thing that they really could stand on, possibly?
It's so vague. So it was embarrassment. There's a couple words, I guess, that fall the criteria that Jerome Tang broke, I guess, but it's vague. I mean, obviously, I think the settlement's going to be met somewhere in the middle. I don't think Jerome Tang's getting 0. I don't think he's getting 18. I think something's going to be met in the middle. But yeah, the embarrassment stuff, that's what obviously K-State's argument is. But it's just so, I mean, you could have fired him 2 years ago for something he said in a press conference if you wanted to nitpick, right? So it's vague, I guess, Ross. I wish I could give you a better answer there, but time will tell. Ask me in like 3 or 4 years how much money Tang gets, and then we'll know, right?
Right.
Are there any early coaching candidates that are kind of popping up to get hired for this job next year that you've seen or have been thinking of?
Yeah, obviously this is all just taking a look around. This is nothing that we've heard, but Shirts at St. Louis and Calhoun with Utah State. There's some guys. We had former players on one of my shows last night. They're advocating for a guy like Shane Southwell or a former player. I don't really see that happening from K-State's perspective, but they want a former player on this staff at the very least. But no, it's all just, I guess, speculation. Haven't heard much. It's really so early in this process. But Kansas State, let's be real here, guys. I don't know if that's really an attractive job just when you look at what happened with Jerome Tang and the way it ended. Yes, the NIL money is there. The tradition is there. The history is there 1,000%. But with what happened with Jerome Tang, and I don't want to say he had a short leash because it was time for him to go, but the way it all went down and your athletic department, I guess, not letting you ride something out. I mean, if you're an agent and a future coach, like, you're going to do your homework and say, man, this didn't look good for Tang at all.
Ryan Gilbert's our guest on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream from GoPowerCat.com. Yeah, I'm listening to everything you're saying, and I'm just trying to decipher, because to me, I think about this job and who gets it or who takes it. And someone's going to take the job at some point in time. This is, and according to some people, this is a middle of the road game. My biggest thing is there's only so much money to go around in college athletics anymore. You read the stories of certain athletic departments being $500 million in the hole. And I'm not saying K-State is in that, but I'm saying that there are programs that are struggling to just stay afloat with all the expenditures that it costs to keep athletes healthy and fed and housed and all that stuff. And then you're paying NIL on top of that and all this stuff. And you're going to spend, fine, we'll say you're going to spend $12 or $10 million paying a coach that doesn't coach you. Where is this money going to come from to not only get a new coach and new staff while paying the old staff, but also to go and get players? Because K-State has been good about getting pretty high-priced talent. Doesn't mean it's always performed well, but they've gotten high-priced talent, and now you got to pay all this stuff. Where's this? And plus, as it was said, somebody else said, who's maybe you're going to spend that money if you're a booster with Colin Klein in K-State football now. So how challenging is it for K-State basketball now to get the money that they had been getting, because now it's going to other places?
Yeah, my argument here all along was, if you can raise $18 million, then go give it to football or give it to somebody, right? Don't just give it to Fireman. But obviously, donors have power, people have power, and whatever that number ends up being, like you said, Ross, A, you have to get a new coach, but also B, you got to pay players to essentially come to Manhattan. And so any incoming coach is going to want assurance with regard to NIL and how much money they can have at their disposal. But Jerome Tang, well, you hit it on the head. Like, got talented guys or paid a lot for guys, and the return on investment, Ross, it was just awful with PJ Haggerty, Coleman Hawkins, And that's not to say any of these guys are like necessarily bad players. It just was a way too much of an overspend financially in terms of how much you had to pay for one of these dudes. But yeah, I mean, the financials, I guess a coach is going to want to be paid, right? And Kansas State, money doesn't grow on trees. And so I'd be curious to see, because these donors, we had gotten word that money was going to stop flowing in for Tang because the seasons have been so bad. The NIL money was either going to stop or go somewhere else. But now that there's a new coach, maybe there's more promises or guarantees that, yeah, you can have a lot to work with here, because I know Colin Klein didn't take this job and know that he was going to get $0 in NIL. I think he knew that he was going to be competitive. And so we'll see if a new coach coming here to Manhattan for hoops wants that and is assured that.
I don't know. I think it's fascinating. I just don't think there's going to be the money that there has been, no matter what you do, because they have to spend it in areas that you don't really want to spend it in. Ryan Gilbert, our guest. I've been saying for a while that Jerome Tang bamboozled Kansas State. He fooled them, Jerry, with that first year. And with that amazing first year, not that he did it on purpose, but he ends up getting just an unbelievable contract extension and deal with this massive buyout. 2020 hindsight, how should have Kansas State handled that first season underneath Jerome Tang?
Well, I mean, that was Jerome Tang, to say he checked every box would be an understatement. Seriously. And on the court, off the court, everybody was just in love with this man. And I keep saying, like, they need a 30 for 30 on this situation, how it all went downhill. It's insane. But year number 2, Jerome Tang got a new contract after missing the NCAA tournament. And of course, hindsight's 2020, but Kansas State's in this buyout mess that it is now because of that contract. And for a coach to get that much of a raise, so to speak, after missing the NCAA tournament is not good. It's not normal. And so that really is where, I think K-State went wrong. Now, if Jerome Tang were to leave for Arkansas, was the rumored school at that time, of course, everybody would be coming after Gene Taylor and the athletic department. Everybody would be irate because everybody was still kind of high on Tang at that time. But it all went downhill after year number 1. Year number 2 was respectable under Jerome Tang, but last, year number 3, year number 4, guys, it's been wild to see how steep the decline has been.
At least for you and other people following K-State pretty closely, was it during that year 2, or did it take till year 3 where you guys are like, all right, this is really starting to not work with Tang and he's going to be out sooner or later?
Yeah, what was the turning point?
It's a really good question. I like to ask people after I go. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts as well. But, there's so many, like Iowa State in year number 2 on the road with the Spygate, with the huddle. You guys remember that, right? Like the records before and after that are stark, but year number 2 was honestly fine. Year number 3, I think, is when you started to be like, oh, there might be a problem here. I was out in the Virgin Islands. I love to brag about that. Kansas State lost to Liberty. And this was a field full of like UAB, George Washington, Longwood. Like, you had to win this tournament, and you lose to Liberty. In hindsight, that should have been my aha moment to be like, okay, like something's not normal here. You have, you're paying Coleman Hawkins $2 million. You're giving all these guys all this money, and you can't win against these crappy teams in this tournament. That was kind of my aha moment. But you know what? Year number 1 was clearly the fluke, and year number 2, whatever. But year number 3, once that happened, it was clear that year number 1 was just the one-off, and it wasn't really ever going to work out. And that's why nationally, I'm not accusing you guys at all, but like, you see some of these mouthpieces nationally. I get it. Some of these guys are buddies with Tang, or there's agents involved and they got to say something. But the reaction for some of these national guys to just like not get it, not grasp it, and be confused about Tang's firing. It's like some people just don't understand how dysfunctionally bad this program was towards the end. And there was no light at the end of the tunnel. There was no high school recruiting. There was no roster continuity. Like I said, players were running scout. You had coaches who didn't coach. Go on and on for hours.
Ross, that's the biggest thing to me for Jerome Tang. It all went downhill when he decided that every year we're going to start over. If you're looking for a particular thing where I think things started to go bad, the Naquan Tomlin situation, that's things started to go bad. And just for fun, when Nebraska came down to Manhattan and stomped them, that was also probably a time when things started going bad.
That was second year, right?
Yeah, it was
I think they scored like 12 points and a half in that game or something.
It was bad.
Awful. We
Okay.
should have known then, Ross.
That was the time. Okay, we'll get you out of here. You got about a minute or two. But I want to know, do you think we'll see anything change the rest of the way with Coach Driscoll at the helm and what they have to, even though there's nothing to play for, but do you think they'll see any type of change, whatever, or do you think it even just takes even a turn even for the worst starting tonight against Baylor? And on top of that, if you got to pick the coach and it was, you could just like pluck him out of anywhere or whatever, who would you take? Those are my final two questions.
Driscoll, his resume at North Florida for 15 years as a head coach wasn't great. And so for me to sit here and say, it's going to get turned around for the last 6 games, I just can't do that. Now, if there was a true lack of respect from these players to Jerome Tang, and you see a guy get fired like that, and these guys just didn't really care about him, like this could be the coming together moment for a group of dudes for maybe it just be one game, but maybe you see them fight a little differently. Like this could be what it took to get something like a good effort out of your team. I don't know, but I'm not banking on that. But Driscoll, there was so much hype coming into this season with his offense and all that. Hindsight 2020 should not have bought into it the way we did. But I don't think much changes. I think you got 6 games left in the regular season. You go through the motions and just kind of get through. I haven't done a plethora of research, but Shirts from St. Louis, seems kind of like the easy, I don't want to say slam dunk guy, but if you're from St. Louis, Kansas State is a jump, but Kansas State is not a huge jump, right? You might wait another year until a better, bigger school opens up, and then you don't have to make that bridge from K-State for a year or two. You just ride it out, and, Kansas State's in a tough spot. Kansas State doesn't have a ton of leverage right now, in my opinion.
I'll throw a name out there. Ben Jacobson at Northern Iowa. Be a great hire.
That one.
Consistent and winner. Ryan Gilbert, GoPowerCat.com. Thanks, buddy. Thank you so much for tweeting us again. I know you're very busy. So busy that you forgot that there's a game tonight. But don't forget to go to Bramlage tonight for that late tip against Baylor. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you for the reminder.
You're welcome, buddy. We'll see you. Be good. Ryan Gilbert, GoPowerCat.com. Great stuff from him. We'll take our final break, come back, and wrap things up next in the Blitz.
It's time to step into premium capability at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland with strong GMC offers happening now. Get into a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation with up to $7,000 in rebates, now $51,150. And if you're ready for a full-size luxury, the 2026 GMC Yukon features 1.9% APR for well-qualified buyers. Full design, professional-grade performance. GMC delivers power and refinement wherever the road takes you. Visit Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or online at hurlchev.com.
Kick off 2026 ready for whatever winter brings. At Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, they've got the gear to start the new year strong. Get organized with rugged storage totes. And when the snow starts falling, if it does, power through it with Ego and Craftsman snow blowers. Or if it's just the light stuff, blow it away with Ego leaf blowers. And don't forget ice melt to keep your sidewalk safe all season long. New year, winter ready. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Helpful folks, trusted brands, and everything you need to get it done.
Let's face it, many of us plan our vacations down to the hour, the activities, the food we want, and the people we'll see. So why not save our family the grief and stress when we leave this world? Why not inquire about rearranging our funeral and celebration of life? Call Coons Russell Funeral Home in Goodland for their assistance. They've made it so much easier on families in times of stress. Call or visit CoonsRussellFuneralHome.com.
Quick hits, bold takes, and all the action.
I'll take that action.
Welcome back to the Morning Blitz.
All right, a couple minutes left to go here on a Tuesday show. Wrapping things up with a little high school ball tonight. It's senior night tonight at Colby, isn't it? Against Scott City?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Are you on the road Friday?
Hugoton.
Yeah, so this will be senior night tonight. So senior night tonight for the Colby Eagles. Any thoughts as Scott City comes to town? I think at least on the boys' side, a very evenly matched basketball game. Although Colby's playing really well as of late. We'll see.
I think
it's so hard to read.
I don't want to make any early conclusions, but I like our chances on both sides, especially because I thought in the boys Scott City game there were a lot of moments that first time where they could have won that game and they just went ice cold from the field. And I don't think they're going to have another shooting day like that. And they're getting a little healthier. I think might get Coben Curry back today, which would be big. So having him back, and I think playing Scott City for the second time, it's going to be nice to get that mulligan. And I think they'll figure it out. And I think the girls are going to take care of business like the first time.
Yeah, I think the girls don't have a lot of issues. Scott City's having a tough year this year. And on the boys game, to me, it comes down to what Scott City team shows up. Is it the team that can go out and knock in, 10 threes? Because they can do that when Junior Mesa gets going, and their other guys, they've got some great guards. Who's the other guy? Not Farrow.
Farrow's all right.
Radke's the other guy I'm thinking of.
Avery Radke, yeah.
He gets going. So when those two guys get going, if they're going, they can give fits some other stuff. So I'd look out for that. Goodland's on the road, a step away from GWAC play on the road at Scott City. Syracuse. S's on the road at Scott City tonight. Girls game might be interesting. Syracuse has got a good group of young ladies. They got three. They kind of have a three-headed monster led by their 6-foot junior Haley Hampton. Pretty talented young lady. So that'll be interesting to see what the Cowgirls do with her. And the boys game, Cowboys with a great win this previous Friday on the road at Ulysses. I thought it was a great win for them. Ulysses had played them close all season long, including a triple overtime game at the Max Jones Fieldhouse before the Orange and Black Classic. And, the Cowboys took care of business on the road. I think it was a really impressive win, got some good performances out of some guys, some that might even not show up in the stat sheet. But now they go on the road to Syracuse, who's got a really good player in Charlie Keller. But I think the Cowboys on paper are a better team in its entirety. But you got to go out there and play a good game and not be caught. Both teams not be caught looking ahead to Friday with the big game against Holcomb, which is the de facto girls GWAC title game too, by the way. So that's a big Friday night ahead. So not be looking past that. And good slew of games as well after that around the area tonight. And let's see, college basketball. Talked about K-State Baylor. Baylor, by the way, 3.5-point favorites on the road at Kansas State tonight. Also tonight, Nebraska at Iowa. Big time game. Iowa favored by 1.5. I'm torn. My alma mater, Northwest Missouri State, former head coach Ben McCollum, now at Iowa. Very sad to see that. I love Coach McCollum. I hope he's good at Iowa to get a job to go somewhere else because I want to root for him, but I can't when he's at Iowa. So
that's fair.
But Ben McCollum is a dude. He can really coach. And Bennett Sturtz is the ultimate dude. And so a tough draw tonight for Nebraska, but we'll see how the Cornhuskers do. The Huskers need this win because I think Iowa's a tournament level team.
Yes.
But you need this win to kind of keep yourself in that top 3 seed, in my opinion.
I will say I like Nebraska in this one because Iowa just got blasted by Purdue the other day, and I think they had a bad loss last week. I'm just spacing on who.
Maryland, I think.
Maryland, yes, one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. They are horrible.
Yeah. So anyway, that's on to tap tonight on BTN, which I'll be interested to see. That's a game Nebraska really needs to have, and they've kind of been up and down of Nebraska ever since they kind of emptied the tank against Michigan. So I look forward to seeing how that all goes out. All right, let's get to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the 10. Difference going on in New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
A couple of cool storylines in the walk-off. How about D. Kennedy for Kansas State? We mentioned him yesterday. The K-State shortstop winning the Golden Spikes Award in D1 Baseball National Player of the Week, Big 12 Player of the Week. He went 538, 15 RBIs, 3 home runs, and 2 grand slams.
15 RBIs. Jeez.
In the first 4 games. What a performance from him for the 4-0 K-State Wildcats.
Saw him play this summer.
Or what team did he play for?
Jeez. I can't remember.
The Bourne Braves. The Bourne Braves.
I saw him on Cape. I remember.
Did you happen to see the monobob, Alana Myers-Taylor, at age 41 win the monobob? 41 years old. By the way, the bronze winner was 40. I'll tell you what, this is the Olympics for the people who are, I think the lady who won the Super G and the Solemn, I think is 36 or 37. That's my age. So
that's incredible.
You can be young and still win gold at the Olympics. You can still be a little bit older. And
I gotta pay more attention to the Olympics. I've been out.
I'm telling you what, good stuff. Did you see that Robert Duvall died yesterday?
I did see that.
Do you have a favorite Robert Duvall movie?
I don't.
You don't? God, what a great actor. Boy, he was in so many great movies. Days of Thunder, Secondhand Lions. Of course, he was in The Godfather. Oh, he was great. R.I.P. to David Duvall. That'll do it. Sorry, for Robert Duvall, not David Duvall. David Duvall, I'm pretty sure, is a golfer. Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, Robert Duvall is the actor. That'll do it for us. For Connor Schuh, I'm Ross Volkmer. We'll talk tonight for high school hoops and back again tomorrow in 23 hours for the Blitz. We'll see you then.